Welcome back to the penultimate day of the EPT London main event. We are on the PokerStars.net European Poker Tour at the Grosvenor Victoria Casino on Edgware Road, playing down from the final 15 to the final 8 today. Only one elimination so far. We've played 2 full levels. We've lost the Finn Pasi Sormanen, so 14 players remain, including the 7 at our feature table. Headlined by the tournament chip leader Steve O'Dwyer, looking to make back-to-back final tables here in London, and Theo Jorgensen from Team PokerStars Pro, aiming for the Triple Crown. A reminder of what they're playing for in terms of prize money. Everyone currently guaranteed £25,000. And of course, make it to the final table and you're guaranteed at least 57k, with the winner receiving £700,000. A reminder, we also have a previous EPT champ in the field. Nick Schweety, grand final winner in season 6, is on table 2. I mentioned Theo aiming for the Triple Crown. We're joined by a gentleman who already has that accolade. He's one of the newer members of Team PokerStars Pro from the UK, Mr. Jake Cody. I called you one of the newer members, Jake, because you were the new kid on the block. You were unveiled at the PCA as a member of Team Pro, and then just before London, they signed Leo Margetts and Steal Your Thunder, so now kind of your old school.
Was there any hazing being a new member of Team Pro? Did you have to get spanked by Daniel or anything like that?
I'm sworn to secrecy, so I can't give any details about that. But it's good to be here, guys.
Absolutely. Making your EPT Live debut.
Yeah, it is my EPT Live debut. This is a lot of fun, especially at such a crucial stage of the tournament as well.
Obviously, we've seen you on EPT Live before, both when you've been on a feature table and, of course, when you won your European Poker Tour title in Deauville.
Yep. It's I mean, there's a lot of plays out quite differently sometimes. I think when you're on the feature table, there's a lot more pressure. Some players react differently to it, so I'll just see what happens.
I think Steve O'Dwyer is no stranger to live streamed or televised tables, and he's been very much in control of this tournament for the last day and a half.
I think he came second last year as well.
Yes.
It's pretty sick that he's managed to go deep again.
Steve plays a lot of big pots. This one no exception. He raised before the flop, bet the turn.
Heart draw gets there on the river.
Yeah, I was not a player to give up. I've played against him a few times, and he plays quite unorthodox, to say the least.
Check on the river. And Steve will show 6-4, so he rivered a 4. And Visotskis is like, I was calling you all the way with King High.
He was just getting heroed with King Queen.
And Steve...
Correctly.
It was good as well,
Yeah.
Having won that part, will move over the 3 million chip mark. He now has 3.2 million, firmly in control of this table, firmly in control of the tournament. Christopher Frank, the second biggest stack, with $1 million less. And obviously we are keeping one eye on the outer table as well, table 2. And there is Chris Moorman. He must be rooting for Chris to make the final, Jake.
Chris is one of my good friends, so I would love him to do well. I mean, a long time coming that he wins something live.
James, Jer asks, are we still with 14 players? Did some players get busted during the commercials?
Nobody bust during the commercials. Now, that is a direct reference to yesterday, where we won on a break at the end of the level because play had concluded on the feature table, not realising that there was not one but 2 all-ins on the outer tables, and 2 players went broke. So we came back from the break kind of like, there is no more play today because we're down to 15.
But technically, we're really, other than that bizarre turn of events yesterday, we don't take breaks while play is happening. No. So we're not airing commercials for the sake of airing commercials. We're taking a break when the players take a break. So, like I said, other than that little bizarre coincidence that things happened after we went to break already, generally there are no hands taking place while we are not broadcasting.
By the way, Luke Martin, a little bit annoyed that we cut away from that hand in the big game. Did the loose cannon get away from it? Luke, all of those shows are archived at pokerstars.tv. There's plenty of time to find out later.
I don't remember, honestly, either. Or you can win our caption competition, which we're running. And we're giving away a box set of that season of the big game, along with a box set of poker tutorials. So.
More details on the contest in a moment. Let's have a look. Yeah, Kamel opened to 60,000. Mikhail Korotkik shoves for 752k.
Theo's thinking. I actually didn't even know he was shooting for the Triple Crown. That's pretty awesome.
How many of you are there now in that club? Is it 4, 5? Davide Katai joined.
If Katai's one counts, there's 4.
Well. At the time, the WPT made it clear that they consider that a full WPT title. So in that case,
I mean,
it is a big field.
So yeah, there's 4.
So Theo aiming to become the 5th.
Could be 5, yeah.
Jorgensen does have Karotki cover, but
I don't think it's by much.
no, it's by
He'll be crippled if he...
exactly like 150K, 160K, which is 5 big blinds. Theo lets it go. So does Kamel.
Snap fold.
How many times has Karotkick been all in today? He's only been called once.
Half dozen?
Yeah.
I mean, a few times it's in spots where he's almost never going to get called. Someone limps the small, he shoves the big.
A reminder that blinds are up to 15 and 30,000 with a 4,000 ante. Level 25 of the tournament. And some questions for Jake Cody coming in on the emails and on Twitter. nuts@pokerstars.tv is the email address. The Twitter hashtag is EPTLive. Ryan Smith says, yo, Jake, how's it going, bud? I met you at UK IPT Cork. Nice result for Neil, eh?
Yeah, I mean, actually I was hanging out with Neil like loads in UK IPT Cork. Actually, in the past UK IPTs, I've known him for quite a while now. So I'm rooting for him as well. Him and Chris are my two quite good friends in the field. So I'm hoping he can... Let's go for 1-2. Well, I'll go for Chris first, Neil second.
Roger says, Jake, you crippled my fantasy team with your performance in EPT London. Nevertheless, it's great to have your wisdom on the broadcast. I love that. He gives you the needle and then pays you a compliment at the end.
I mean, I guess it makes it a little bit better, but I mean...
Well, Jake, you know you're my
well.
#1 pick of my drinking fantasy team.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. Easy, hands down. I mean, assuming I did a little game with Jonathan Duhamel, assuming all the French Canadians are off the table.
Right.
I think you're still my first overall pick, but then I'd probably start going with some of those guys.
Yeah, I think the French Canadians are pretty hard to beat, but I mean, I just think I can give them a run for their money.
Yeah, as a group, they're going to be tough, but individual heads-up matches, I think you're pretty solid.
I'll take them on.
So Christopher Frank raised from the cutoff. Got a caller, with Neil Farrell defending his big blind. Queen, trade deuce with 2 spades.
Someone's tweeted us to say that Theo tweeted that on the hand against Steve O'Dwyer, he had 2 9s.
Okay.
Which was part of the range that we were all speculating.
Continuation bet gets the job done there.
Just gives up.
By the way, for those of you on Twitter asking for updates on the high roller, remember the guys from the live updates team at the PokerStars blog, they're providing those updates. I'm going to make it clear, we are not going to switch our coverage on EPT Live to the high roller while there's still action going on in the main event. We want to see who makes it to the final table and who doesn't. We're going to follow this through until there have been 6 more eliminations. Now, if that happens pretty quickly and we've got a few hours left at the end of the day, then maybe we'll bring you a feature table from day 2 of the high roller, but at no point are we going to switch from the main to a side event. Looks like there is an all-in on the outer table. Looks like it's Basil Musa who is all in, and looks like he's been called by David Kalan.
All of Kalan's chips look like they're pushed forward.
Jacks was the hand for Musa, and it looks like he has eliminated David Kalan, the Frenchman stepping away from the table. Musa obviously just had him covered. And so we are down to 13 now in the EPT London main event. David Kalan, the last French player remaining, out in 14th place. His chips going across to Bazel Musa, one of 2 Lebanese players remaining in the tournament, the other being Nick Schweety, our potential 2-time champion.
So just 5 players to go before we reach that final table.
By the way, Jake, is that something you put much mind to, the whole 2-time champion thing on the EPT?
Yeah, definitely. I mean...
I figured that. You're a competitive guy. I knew you were going to say that.
I mean, I like Shruti, actually. But I'm kind of, at the same time, I want to be the first 2-time champion. He can take second. I feel like it's quite a prestigious thing now. PokerStars have made quite a big thing of it. I mean, there's never been one before, so... And there's so many guys now with 1 that 2's like something special.
It's also so weird when you look at every other festival and tour around the world.
Yeah.
Like the UK IPT in its first 2 seasons had like 3
yeah.
2-time champions, and here we are
ridiculous.
still looking for our first in season 9.
Yeah.
Frank, the original raiser this hand, went check on the flop. No continuation bet, no delayed continuation bet. 3 in the river.
I don't expect Farrell to be defending too wide out of the small blind here. Expect to see a lot of pocket pairs, a lot of high suit connectors.
Farrell checks again. Maybe just some kind of bluff catcher at this point.
Maybe. I do expect him to bet a lot of his like Broadway hands though on this river. I don't expect Frank to bluff now. Farrell might just be giving up with like 8s or 9s.
Ace Jack is a very good hand, so.
Farrell claims Ace Jack is good.
And Frank now up to nearly 2.3 million. Michael Roberts has a question on Twitter. Jake, in your opinion, who is the most underrated player? Now, I'm not sure that he's talking about the players remaining in this tournament or overall, but is there someone who's kind of flying under the radar at the moment who you think is set for great things in 2013?
There is, to be honest, there's so many players who like could win things. Like I feel like when you get to a certain like level, if you just run good in certain tournaments. So I guess for a tournament player, there's like hundreds of players like I mentioned, like Reece Jones, Ash Mason come to mind, who haven't really won things, but could easily like win things if like they string things together. But also like I've got a lot of my good friends are cash game players. Tom McDonald, Andrew Mosley. A lot of people might not have heard of them, but they're like two of the best players in the UK. I would say so. Different answers, I guess.
Well, I think that's exactly what we're looking for. Guys we haven't heard of before.
We've made a lot about the fact that the final 32 and indeed the final 15 coming into today is a pretty stellar lineup.
Yeah.
And we kind of said the same thing about the field in Deauville, Jake, in the latter stage of that tournament. I mean, at that table, you know, you've got Mike McDonald, Peter Eastgate, and Elke bubbling the final
I was
table.
going to say, people actually forget Elke kind of made the unofficial final table.
It was by no means an easy tournament to win.
No, definitely not.
Well, this is
But I mean,
interesting.
whoever wins this one is going to, it's going to be an achievement.
Frank raised. Looks like Theo called. I can't tell how big those stacks are.
Yeah, blue chips are 5,000, yellows are 25,000.
Yeah, I think he called.
And now it seems like Neil's got a decision.
Frank seems to be the most quite active since I've been watching anyway.
Yeah, he has been pretty active. Theo's kind of taken advantage a lot of the time, actually, of how active Frank is and Karat keeping in the middle because he tends to call a lot.
Yeah.
And it looks like Neil's going to try to take advantage of a similar situation. There's the 3-bet. Action immediately folds back around to Frank.
I really like the spot from Neil here.
Still already counting out the call.
He's just constantly moving chips around.
Feels a bit of a gangster player, I think. I feel he's not going to let people push him around.
He doesn't have a huge stack left to get cute. Frank, on the other hand, 2.3 million. See ya.
Guess it through.
Farrell claiming to have 10s.
Up to 1.7 million.
It wasn't getting through. Don't beat yourself out.
What's the average? 1.5.
About 1.5, yeah.
Really quickly. Yes.
Steve O'Dwyer, of course, with double average, and we believe that Steve
I get that look
could well be the tournament chip leader. Obviously, certainly the biggest stack at this table.
Yep.
So you damage in with your ace jack? I wouldn't do that with ace.
100 big blinds at this stage is enormous. Even the average stack's like still pretty deep, 50 big blinds.
Yeah, it is fairly deep still.
Yeah.
Andrew tweets, just got back from uni, what's the latest? The latest is, Andrew, that we've had 2 eliminations. We're down to 13 players. 7 on our feature table, 6 on the outer table.
I don't like responding to the individuals asking to be caught up. However, I think it's good that we reward him for going to uni.
Well, I just think it's a good reminder that all the time we've got new people tuning in. So it's not just for Andrew's benefit, but for the benefit of everyone who's just joined us on EPT Live. Just to keep you up to speed with where we are at, playing down to the final 8 today. And we've got Jake Cody from Team PokerStars Pro in the booth, himself an EPT title holder, himself a Triple Crown winner. So questions for Jake should be emailed or tweeted. And we've got an all-in here with Dwyer's button raise. 3-bet by Vizotskis for everything he's got. And Steve will let it go. We talked
quite a big shove, I think.
Almost $1 million.
Yeah.
Huge shove, actually.
Huge shove, yeah.
We talked briefly, Jake, about your final table on the EPT. I also want to talk about the WPT event you won, because I believe you bought in at the start of day 2 and paid £5,000 for a 20 big blind stack.
That is correct. It was one of those tournaments where you can buy in on day 2.
But at what point did you think that's good value?
I
mean, granted, if we're going to play results, it worked out quite well.
Well, I always feel like in live tournaments, I'm always quite confident. I never like go into a tournament like being worried. So 20 big blinds. It's actually a lot to work with in live poker. It's not as bad as it sounds. But I doubled up like the very first hand, so then I had 40 big blinds plus a bit more, and then went on from there.
Always nice to double up like on one of the first 2 hands of the day.
Yeah.
It amuses me because obviously, you know, a lot of people who play kind of like £10, £20 tournaments complain like, oh, you know, it's a crapshoot. You only get like 20, 30 big blinds at the start, and here you are paying £5,000 and getting the same number of chips.
The person I busted actually on the first hand was Ian Woodley, and he was really annoyed at me because he'd played like 12 hours on the first day. Then he'd come back, and we had the same amount of chips. And then the first time I busted him, and he wanted to kill me, I think.
Classic Cody.
I think I got it in with a draw and got there, if I remember rightly. Anyway.
Sounds about right.
Yeah, that sounds.
sounds
Story
right,
check.
sure.
Farrell's pre-flop raise called by Christopher Frank in the big blind. These two go to war again.
Is Christopher Frank 18 years old? Am I right to say that?
I believe he is.
Wow, that's pretty awesome.
Worth pointing out that Mike McDonald was just 18 years old. Had only just turned 18 when he played his first ever EPT.
Yeah, that's pretty unbelievable to be even just entering the tournament at that age and like competing.
I think it's also impressive. I mean, less impressive, but just to be traveling around the world and going to other countries at 18 years old. I mean,
yeah, it shows a lot of independence.
I didn't go very far from home when I was 18. I'll tell you that much. Mostly because of my curfew. Thanks, Mom and Dad.
Now, the poker media next door have corrected me and said that you should now refer to Team PokerStars Pro Jake Cody as a quadruple crown winner because he took down the EPT London Media Tournament for £300, which he immediately gave to Shelter, the charity for homeless people. Well, congratulations, Jake. A nice gesture,
Thanks.
sir.
That's awesome.
So I'm the first ever quadruple crown winner, right?
Yeah. I don't think anyone else who's won an EPT Media Tournament has ever also won an EPT main event, a WPT, and a World Series bracelet.
That tournament was so much fun. That was one of the most fun tournaments I've had in a while. And I actually decided to use up a lot of run good in that tournament.
Is that something you can make a conscious decision to do? Like, I'm going to use this much run good.
Well,
I don't care if I waste it in the media tournament.
I have an endless supply, though, so...
Oh, of course you do.
It doesn't matter if I use up a little bit too much here and there.
Jake Cody's run good replenished by beer.
I always love it though when like you guys, members of Team Pro, do play in the media tournament and like really enjoy yourselves. And obviously this is something you play at a high level for big stakes and you do it professionally. But it's great because like you love the game, and so to actually just be enjoying yourself and having a laugh, that's.
Moneymaker made the final table as well, so it wasn't the easiest final table.
Pot was originally raised by O'Dwyer. No action until the river. O'Dwyer gets called. River's the queen. Probably going to be good. Seeing the other card is a jack.
He's only got one card. Unlucky river for him.
Unlucky river. Lost the minimum.
Yep.
A reminder that this is one of 2 tables remaining in the EPT London main event. This is table 1, and on the floor we have table 2. And it looks like there is an all-in. You'll notice that the red triangle is in front of Daniel Erlandsson, one of 2 Swedish players remaining in the tournament. Trying to work out, he still has cards in front of them. Who's thinking about this? Could be Sweetie, who's blocked by Kate the dealer.
Yeah, it's a little bit difficult to tell.
It's actually Basel Musa in the 1 seat who's considering the call. Musa eliminated David Colan. He's now deciding who he wants to call and put Erlandsson at risk. Meanwhile, in the background, you can see some of the players who've entered the 10K No Limit Hold'em High Roller. Musa folds. Erlandsson's shove gets through. So still 13 players remaining.
This hand was raised by Kamel, called in 2 spots by Karotkik and Theo. Checks around on the flop. I heard all in and call.
Oh, wow.
Karotkik shoves the turn, gets called by Theo Jorgensen. Theo with trip 4s, top pair the hand for Karotkik.
Defends with 8-4 off.
It's a favourable flop for him, for sure.
Yeah.
Mikhail Karotkik.
2 outs.
Needs a king on the river, it's an ace. We lose Karotkik in 13th place. They're just going to verify that he's got him covered. By our calculations, Theo had more chips.
A lot more chips.
It says make sure.
Pretty awesome for you to get it in with such a big favourite in the hand.
It's just those dream words.
Yeah.
Flop trip. Oh, okay, I call.
Yeah. Don't have to worry about flipping or even holding. Well, he does have to hold, but 1 card to come, it's quite an easy one.
Oh, it seems that Karotkik may have a few chips behind.
Thank you.
Look
He
at that.
does. Just a few blue chips.
This will be a comeback.
I'm telling you, that's one of the best hands I've had today. You started 8-5.
So I stand corrected. Theo Jorgensen did not have him well covered, or at all covered, or even a little covered.
I love the way that you took a line on it, though, and really went with it. The fact that you showed commitment.
I did. I showed commitment to the numbers on the screen.
So by our calculations, Karotkik is left
1 big blind.
with less than 1 big
Less than one
blind,
big blind.
25,000.
I'm rooting for him now. I hope he comes back.
So Hardigan, what do you say? You let me and Cody handle things up here. You go down on the floor, and let's rail the high roller for a couple of minutes.
I think that might make the peeps on Twitter a little bit happy because they're itching for updates from that tournament.
Yeah, that's where that's where a lot of the big names are. Of course, we've got some big names left in this thing, but everyone that went broke from here He's going to be in that high roller now, so we're going to send James on down there. Just me and you, buddy.
Let's do this.
Just me and the quadruple crown winner. I've eaten a quadruple quarter pounder, if that means anything. Karaki
Means
all
something,
in.
for sure.
Yeah, right? Not everyone has done that. Theo makes the call. Get a check from the big blind. So Karaki can possibly triple up. We do have a side pot.
I'm rooting for Croc Kicker.
You want him to triple up at least one
Yeah,
time.
definitely.
King deuce deuce. Theo's 8 deuce looking really good right now.
Croc Kicker doesn't look too happy.
Oh, 8 deuce is huge. Hearts and spades out there now. And the river, it's an ace. Maybe Karaki likes that card.
This is kind of good news for him.
Farrell bets 30,000, doesn't get a call.
No. Thought I saw an ace for a second, but no.
Farrell shows.
I think it was ace 7.
Yeah, ace 7.
Fair.
Karaki, not sure what he had, didn't get a chance to see that one, but didn't have Farrell beat. And there we go, we lose. Karaki,
Down to 12.
13th place. He's going to collect 25,000 pounds. Next player eliminated collects 33,000 pounds.
That was a lot of quadruple burgers. Lifetime's fly, maybe.
Yeah, but you got to have some leftover from your next buy-in. You can't just blow it all on burgers.
It's been done before.
I was going to say, I could picture you doing it, if anyone could. Action on Kamel. Steve O'Dwyer is still the big stack at this table. It's his big blind. Kamel now the shortest stack at the table with 651,000.
Noah, could you get me a girl for massage?
Theo's got some dancing chips now too.
Yeah, and Theo's kind of had an up and down day today. Theo re-raises. My guess is that Kamel's probably not messing around too often from his position and with his chip stack.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect him to turn up with a huge range here. But at the same time, he's been put in a pretty tough spot by Theo here.
He decides to let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, with his stack, there's not a lot of post-flop play after you've been 3-bet.
I feel like he's just a shove-off-fold situation there.
Yep. And let's take a look at the prizes. There we go. Mikhail Karaki finished in 13th place, 25,000 pounds. Next prize jump, 8,000 pounds more to 33,000. Goes up one more time for 9th and 10th, 44,000. And then the final table, that's where the real money starts. 57,000 pounds for 8th. 700,000 pounds for first.
Some big jumps there.
Some pretty big jumps, more than 10 times from 8th to 1st.
Yeah. Pretty sick.
Top heavy. That's how you sickos like it, though.
Yeah, it is for sure.
Action folds around to Farrell on the button.
It's quite a delicate open for him.
Dainty almost.
Yeah.
Dwyer wants to know how much he's playing. About 1.8 million. 0.85.
Wouldn't be surprised for Dwight to do something there. He screws around a lot.
He does screw around a lot, and you know it's that point where they're kind of short-handed, and it's an unopened button raise.
Or it's just defending
Mark
small.
just calls.
Yep. Oh no, it's free bet.
There we go. 3-bet to 180.
I thought it looked like more than a call.
And I would guess because O'Dwyer's liable to be 3-betting so light that Farrell's going to call pretty light position.
It's pretty difficult to give O'Dwyer credit here.
Yeah.
But at the same time, if Farrell has opened something like Jack 8 off, like, it's pretty hard to do anything.
I mean, are you
Unless
just
he
going to
wants to
call
4-bet.
in position, or are you just going to 4-bet and see if you can take it down, 4-bet, fold it?
With a time like Jack 8, I'd probably prefer to 4-bet. Just I don't think it flops that well, really.
Farrell decides to kick it in.
Think about it. I think that's the best hand I've ever played. I think I played that so beautiful.
Jake, we got a question from the Twitter. Jake, is it true you started your online career with just $10?
That is very true. I deposited $10 when I first started playing, and somehow never had to deposit since. I've moved money around sites, things like that, but I've never actually used money outside of poker to play.
Fingers
poker.
crossed, knock on wood.
Yeah.
And for
I feel
every
like
guy
I'm
like you, there's 100 guys like me. I'm a weekly depositor.
Yeah, I think I must have run quite well at the start as well. Thinking about it. Throughout my career, I've had a decent amount of it.
7 raises, 65,000 total. 8 folds.
And for those of you listening, this is what I really love about Jake. He's got a great sense of humor about himself. If you've got an ego, you hide it pretty well. You take all the jokes about running good really, really well.
I mean, it's pretty hard to argue against it.
Well, you would be surprised how many people
no, you would
take
actually,
issue
yeah.
with similar statements.
I do see a lot of the big name players complaining about run bad as well, when it's quite ridiculous.
Scott Seaver's written in with some nicknames for Steve O'Dwyer. I was never a huge fan of Harry Beast. He suggested Father Time, Stevie No Tricks, Two Class O'Dwyer, T Steve. I love all of those.
I think Father Time suits him best.
Yeah, I like Father Time. We'll go with. I don't want to completely stonewall hard against Harry Beast. We'll go with Harry Beast and/or Father Time.
Hairy Beast.
Yeah, he liked calling O'Dwyer the Harry Beast. Thanks for weighing in, Scott Seaver, super high roller champion at the PCA.
Hi, Scott.
Also eating up the majority of the budget on my fantasy team. Thanks for that. Father Time raises from the cutoff. And he's going to take it down.
Do you have any players in your fantasy team still in?
You know, I actually screwed up and didn't set my team in
really?
time for this event. So I didn't even have a full roster, and of the roster I had, I think only 2 or 3 of them were playing.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I messed up.
that is a mess up.
Are we playing 9-handed or 10-handed?
I've gotten word that James Hardigan's down on the floor. After this hand, we're going to kick it on down to the high roller. How about you? You got any people alive in this?
I got Morman. I got one player.
Mormon. I think
Yep.
Mormon's going to be on a lot of teams.
Yeah. He is, but it's hard to leave him out.
I did really well in Deauville because I had a couple of dark horses in there. I had Jeff Hakeem, who was not that dark of a horse, but I also had Glenn Cymbaluk, who was such a dark horse that they forgot to award me points for him. Father Time with another
Father Time's relentless
relatively
today.
late raise.
That worked out well last time I did that.
Theo calls. Defends his big blind. And the last O'Dwyer-Theo confrontation went O'Dwyer's way. Deuce King 4. Pretty dry flop.
Yeah. O'Dwyer checks back.
Trey on the turn. Betting lead up for grabs. Theo decides to
It's quite hard to put Modoir on a hand a lot of the time because he does like so many funky things.
And he doesn't give up easily either.
No, that's one thing he does not give up.
It's funny how when a player is good, you say they don't give up. When a player is bad, you say they're a calling station.
Yeah, there's definitely different ways you could talk about things to make it sound better for the pros.
Theo making a pretty big bet here. 319,000 in the middle. Makes it 250.
Wow.
Why so serious? Steve actually showing some expression on his face.
Does not look happy about this.
No. Maybe more surprised than anything. You know, we know that Theo defends super wide. I think, yeah, Steve's in a tough spot here because he could really turn up with a lot of hands.
Especially when you'd expect Steve to have better king on the flop, so Theo might just be trying to bluff. Or might actually have it.
All right, we're going to take a look at our other table. C3, all of Hagelin has shoved all in, and right now Nicholas Schwede is deciding whether or not he wants to make the call. It looks like we have a full board out there. So this bet coming on the river. Waiting for details on the board. Nick Schwede looks flummoxed. 9, king, 5, 7, 3 on the board. Waiting for confirmation on any suits.
Yeah, it looks like Hagelin's moved all in over Schwede's bet on the river.
There are 3 spades on the board. So all those ranks aren't very coordinated. There's a flush possible. Looks like Schwede folds. They're going to push that pot to Hagelin. All right, well, we've got James Hardigan checking in from the high roller. James, what do we got going on down there, pal?
Well, no wonder Scott Seaver is tweeting you in the booth, Joe, because all the guys down here in the high roller are watching the action in the main event, because obviously the high roller taking place right next to table 2, and of course there are screens displaying the live stream of table 1. So Scott's keeping a close eye. He sat right behind us here on what Steve O'Dwyer is doing at that feature table, and that's why he's interacting with you in the booth. I've got Rick Dacey with me. Rick, of course, a staff writer at the PokerStars blog who's been watching the action in the high roller, a tournament which started yesterday, Rick, but registration didn't actually close until this morning.
Until 11:45 this morning, so players could reload, a single reload, or buy in up until that point. And because it's a quite deep structure, hour-long levels, 50k starting stack, then there was still plenty of play even if you bought in after a whole day's play. So in all we had 137 entries, making a prize pool of more than 1.3 million, which is a phenomenal amount, given 436,000 for first, which is pretty good by anyone's going.
You're not going to say no to that. So how many are going to get paid, and crucially, how close are we to the money bubble bursting?
We've currently got 46 players, and it's paying 14. So 14, just over double your money. So we're still some way off, because I think going into the next blind level of 1,500, 3,000, you're still going to have an average stack of about 50 big blinds. So a lot of play. It's scheduled to finish today, but I think it's quite likely that it might actually go until tomorrow. So.
Well, we've heard a lot about the players who've busted. Of course, we had those tweets early doors from the likes of Daniel Negreanu and Jason Mercier. Let's talk a bit about the players who are still in. I mean, directly seated over here, we've got Phil Gruesome, of course, a high roller specialist. Steve Silverman also at his table. Over on the other table, I can see Vicky Corrin and the hat of Nicola Levy, who, of course, we had on our feature table in the main event a few days ago. Also, by the looks of things, Sir Watts is still in the tournament. We've mentioned Scott Seaver. We've got Marvin Rettenmeyer, JC Alvarado. Over there, I can see Luke Full Flush Schwartz. We talked talked to Jake Cody about being a Triple Crown winner. Of course, Davide Katai has joined the Triple Crown Club recently. He's still in the tournament, sat opposite Mike Timex McDonald. So it'll be interesting to see if the Twitter war between McDonald and Mercier continues, with Jason out and Timex still in.
Well, incredibly, the table directly behind us, 8 players. The poker community will know 7 of them pretty much for sure. You know, players like Todd Terry, JC Alvarado, Scott Seaver, Dimitar Danchev. The only player they won't know is the chip leader in the tournament, who's Gautam Sabharwal. And he won a huge pot against Danchev. Danchev's still well stacked. But if you want to know how that played out, you can go to the PokerStarsBlog.com and click on High Roller on the widget on the side.
A nice plug there from Rick Dacey, and that is where you should go for live updates from the High Roller. A quick reminder, if the action in the main event finishes early enough, we might bring you some bonus coverage of the High Roller, maybe pick a feature table from the few that are left. But it looks like we're in this for the long haul. Still 12 players remaining, and we've still got 4 to lose before we have our final table. So back to Joe and Jake to call the action in the main.
Thanks a lot, James. You truly are the poker commentary, High Roller. We appreciate it. It's like Steve O'Dwyer.
Yeah, straight back into the action.
And Christopher Frank are involved in this hand. It's down to the river. Frank, the original raiser. Check, check on the flop. O'Dwyer then tried to bet the turn, got called by Frank. O'Dwyer's checked again here on the river. Frank checks behind. I think Steve said I have an ace. Frank's got a pretty big ace. Ace jack.
Wow. Surprised he doesn't bet there.
Playing very cautiously against Steve O'Dwyer. I guess you don't bet there. You have a pretty decent ace, and if O'Dwyer raises you, you just throw up in your mouth. Right there, that is where our chip stacks sit here at our feature table. Tamer Kamel, call Kenny Loggins because he is in the danger zone. Fewer than 20 big blinds, 17 bigs. Mantha's not in terrific shape, just 34 big blinds.
Most of the other guys have pretty good stack though. We've got a lot of play still.
Mantis gets a walk in the big blind. A walk from Father Time. Stevie No Tricks. We had some other folks write in. Dan Carter says Dwyer Bollicle. I like that one. Todd writes in it should be Chewbacca. I think we had that one before. Quick reminder of the free roll password. It is Barbican. B-A-R-B-I-C-A-N. That's today's EPT Live free roll. That is starting at 8:15 Central European Time. Password Barbican. Infinity Consulting says, the Hairy Beast O'Dwyer for president. Hashtag the Hairy Beast for life.
I would like to argue the case for my nickname for O'Dwyer one more time.
I like it, James. I just like having options.
Of course. I mean, I just want to make it clear that where I'm going with this is obviously he looks like a hairy beast because he's got a lot of hair, but also a beast is what you call someone who tears up MTTs.
And that's
true. What he does.
That's true, James. Now that you explain it, maybe I...
So you're the Hairy Beast creator?
No pun intended, but your nickname of Hairy Beast is starting to grow on me.
I thought you were holding out, Joe, because you'd quite like that nickname for yourself.
Well, the thing is, the reason, you know why I'm sort of pushing against it a little bit is because I don't think you can call someone a hairy beast unless you see the body hair. Like, he's got long hair and a beard, but that doesn't necessitate...
Maybe
Look,
okay.
check this out. See? This is what I'm talking about right
Joe,
here, guy.
Joe, no disrespect
Okay.
to Steve O'Dwyer. I do not need to see his body hair.
I need to see body hair. I'm sorry. Steve? Hello, Steve? Scott Seaver, can you get us a picture of Steve O'Dwyer's body hair?
Joe Foley's just tweeted. He says, guys, no comments on Karotkik's epic shove of 600k into a 200k pot? Was it really that much?
It was a large stuff.
I would say it's not uncharacteristic, though, from what we've seen from Mikhail Korotkik at every event he's attended.
Hey, it's possible Theo could have called him with, you know, 2 10s. Just kidding.
So Steve O'Dwyer gets 3-bet here by Vysotskis. And that 3-bet will win the Lithuanian the pot.
Yes, I think you're right to point that out. I guess it's something we just kind of glossed over, being that the guy went broke and what should have happened did happen.
Yeah, I think when he calls off that shell of a stack, though, when he gets that flop, it's going to be pretty hard for him to get away from it.
Right, I think the issue is not him getting it all in on that flop, but it's just maybe putting it all in himself in one move.
Yeah, didn't try to induce too much.
Oh, wow. I'm not going to say what I've just said oh wow to, but if you follow Barry Carter on Twitter, you'll know why I'm saying oh wow.
Steve O'Dwyer is raised here.
Oh, wow, indeed.
There is a particular member of our production team who's not going to be happy about this.
Oh, boy.
Don't know what to say now.
Steve O'Dwyer raise and takes it.
Yeah, you see, Nick says, what about Poker Jesus as a nickname for O'Dwyer? There's already a poker player's nickname is Jesus, and it's not someone anyone wants to be reminded of. So let's move swiftly on. Didn't see the bear out in the field when I went to have a look at the high roller, but Barry Greenstein claims to have around 200k, more than average, a 67 big blind stack. So good luck to you, Barry. Kevin McPhee, on the other hand, has just busted, reshoved 22 big blinds from the small blind with Jack 9 suited versus Busto Soon's cutoff, and he had 10s. Hashtag on to the next one.
Now, when they say male prostitution,
Joe, come on.
we can just hint at it. Tell everyone where to find it.
Exactly, and it was obvious I was doing that because we're not allowed to discuss it on air, but you have to go there, don't you?
Plenty of poker action happening.
Yeah, we're not doing a very good job.
Theo Jorgensen raising and taking it, getting his stack up to just short of 2 million. On or around the same sort of stack size as Neil Farrell and Chris Frank. Steve O'Dwyer still out in front with 3 million. And that hand, guys, that we saw from the outer table where Nick Schweety had that huge decision on the river. Yep. I mean, there was about 1 million in the middle, and Schweety only had about 300, 400 behind.
Really?
So that was a big fold.
Wow.
So next time when I rail randomly high stakes, I imagine how you sit at the river and
I feel like Hagland's less likely to be bluffing though, if he's only got that much left. But you never know.
Right, because you never expect a guy to fold and leave himself that little behind with that much in the middle.
Exactly. Fold around to Farrell in the small blind.
And he's raising. And Steve will throw it away. So 2 tables of 6 on our journey towards the final table of the EPT London main event. 4 more eliminations before we have our final 8 and play ends in the tournament for the day. And still alive.
Pretty exciting times.
Absolutely. Are Steve O'Dwyer, Theo Jorgensen, Chris Moorman, Nicola Schweety. mean, obviously, we've come to know all these guys over the course of the last few days, and we know it's going to be a talented final table, whoever makes it. But from a storytelling point of view, obviously, it'd be great to see the likes of O'Dwyer, Jorgensen, Moorman, and Sweetie make that final 8.
Yeah.
Remco's written in to say Sweetie had 970K behind, folded to Hagelin shove. After that, he lost more to Visser, is now sitting on 625K. Thank you, Remco.
It's the last time I listened to Neil Johnson.
Kamel's starting to be under big pressure now to try and find a spot to go with.
Andrew asked a legitimate question on Twitter. Jake, if you're Theo in that spot where the guy shoves 600K into 200, what hands are you calling with and what hands are you folding? I mean, obviously, you've got a 4 in your hand. You're calling every day of the week and twice on Sundays.
Yeah. I mean, 100% calling with 4, obviously.
What about if you have a king? What are you going to hand like King Jack, King Queen?
I think a king as strong as King Jack or King Queen, it's going to be hard to fold. But when you start to get to something like King 8 suited or King 7, now it's getting really tough decision. I'd pretty read defendant when it gets like that.
Kamel getting into some real murky water here, by the way. He's just been put all in, folded his big blind. Now down to 411K. About 14 bigs.
Yeah, he doesn't want to get himself too short.
Oh, to Mitchell, who says, tuning in from Australia. It's been a long Friday night and now relaxing at home, playing some Micro Millions and watching the live stream. I like the fact that we are perfect background information for all of you grinding the Micro Millions. And, of course, all of those of you playing the EPT Live free roll this evening. And if you missed it earlier on, the password for today's free roll is Barbican. All lowercase, Barbican, B-A-R-B-I-C-A-N.
Fold around to Kamel in the small. And just walks.
One of the best turbo players in the world. I can't hold that.
Hey, all players remaining in the high roller, you can retake your seats, please. We're going to start in just over 2 minutes.
Meanwhile, the high roller players are coming back from their break. We've got 36 minutes until our next break. 11 players, according to the tournament clock. We must have lost someone from the outer table. We'll get an update ASAP. That means we have a table of 6 on the main stage and a table of 5 on the floor.
9-7, and somebody hits a 9 and no! Starts walking around, screaming like it's insane.
Arrow raises first position.
Sitting with one big blind.
Kamel's found his spot.
See ya. Kamel's going to pick up a couple of chips here.
Yeah, it's huge for Kamel, I think.
We can confirm.
Loads to his stack there.
We can confirm that Daniel Erlandsson is out. Daniel Erlandsson, one of 2 Swedish players remaining, has just busted. He lost to Olaf Haglund. It all went in pre-flop. Haglund had ace-king. Erlandsson had ace-queen. Did not improve, and he is out. That's how we got down to 5 on the outer table. 6 players on the main table.
So 2 more eliminations. We consolidate to 1 table of 9. Then 1 more elimination after that, and we call it a day.
Correct. Dominic tweets to say that Maguire, I think he means O'Dwyer, is the hairy cornflake. Now that nickname is already taken by the forgotten disc jockey Dave Lee Travis, a man who famously resigned from Radio 1 on air. And
how do you come up with the name Hairy Cornflake unless you're stealing it from someone else? It seems kind of random.
And the reason why he was the Hairy Cornflake, he was a hirsute chap who presented the breakfast show.
Ah.
So it works, right?
Yeah, I don't know what.
That makes more sense.
They call Steve O'Dwyer the hairy cornflake because he's a serial raiser.
Ah, now we're talking. I think
That's pretty quick.
I saved you on that one.
I think Dominic may be saying that Steve O'Dwyer looks a little bit like Dave Lee Travis, and that's not a comparison that anyone wants to hear.
Dave Lee Travis sounds like a United States Deep South serial killer. Dave Lee Travis leaves a wake of bodies in his path. The hairy cornflake serial killer.
Farrell's defended his big blind, so Frank's put and raise there.
Frank continues. Farrell calls.
Frank's taking his time. Bet 147.
It's considerably more than half the pot.
Yeah.
Is this something you think he would do just for value? Just put in a big.
I think like traditionally, like a lot of players would check back here, like the judge. Not very much, but I just think it's quite a good spot to bluff because without an ace, I mean, it's going to be hard for him to, even with a queen, even with something like king queen, it's not that easy for him to just call him down, especially if he finds the river too. But at the same time, Farrell could easily have an ace, which is never going to fold. And he might just get his cape on and hero him down. Or something else.
Farrell does call. Complete brick on the river. So no flop draws come in.
Yeah, having said that, I would be quite surprised if Frank fires free here without it.
Right, especially because you can just check behind so many hands that might be good.
And you've got to think that Farrell's more than likely going to call the river than fold now. Now he's called on the flop and turn.
Are you value betting any ace here?
Yeah. Definitely betting an ace. Even ace deuce. Just because the fact that you have an ace makes it harder for him to have an ace. So it's more likely he's got like a queen X type hand.
He got looked up.
Wow, he did fire free.
Stone bluff.
I can get you off the turn.
Well,
And
yeah.
easy call for now.
So it's exactly the situation we're talking about, just in reverse. So you're never folding an ace because you're just not going to be beat.
Yeah, exactly. But he showed a lot of heart there, Frank.
He's down to 1.6 million. Farrell now up to 2.4 million. Of course, we had that tweet from Mitchell in Australia. Across Europe, people are finishing work for the week and heading for home. Eos says, finally, Friday's done with. Bring on EPT Live and the weekend. Hello, if you have just joined us.
What a great start to the weekend.
Absolutely, watching the late stages of the tournament. The penultimate day of the EPT London main event. We're playing down to the final table today.
Pretty nice spot for now there.
You're loosening him up, I like it. Keep it going. He's bluffing now and everything.
And are we losing Steve O'Dwyer?
Looks like it. He's racking up.
Well, the only way we would lose Steve O'Dwyer is if we were down to 10 and we needed to balance the two tables. So we lost someone else from the tournament?
We have people on it.
Seems that the tournament clock has not been updated yet, but it seems there may have been an elimination from the outer table. And that's why Steve O'Dwyer will have to leave the main stage, because we'll have to balance that outer table and have 2 tables of 5 players.
That's the unofficial final table bubble.
Every week I put that, every week it lasts like 7 minutes.
Sweet is done.
I'm like, well, that's dumb, okay. I probably have negative 30% ROI, but it's just too much fun to play.
I couldn't see Sweetie in his chair when we went back.
Everyone knows my screen name, it's so retarded.
Well, you can play it online.
I have many friends who know who you are, so it wasn't too difficult.
And we saw a glimpse of the outer table. It did seem that Nick Schweiter was no longer in seat 2.
Oh no.
But we will wait for official confirmation.
Schweity busted. Schweity has been eliminated. You can breathe easy, Jake Cody.
Yep.
No 2-time EPT champion.
Well, it's not just Jake Cody. Of course, the TV production team will be very happy because they don't want it to happen at a non-televised event.
Ruben Visser busted Nick Schweity, up to 3.6 million now.
There's some big stacks on the other table now.
So O'Dwyer moves to the outer table, and Nick Schweity will not be the first player to win 2 EPT titles. But Steve O'Dwyer is in a great position to make back-to-back final tables.
That is impressive.
We're in great position to get down to a final table. Sorry, a final 9. Then the final table. Don't want to mess that up. It's the difference between the final 9 who all play at the same table and the final table.
Oh, poor old Stephen. He's still got 3 hours to go until his weekend starts. But he says he's hoping to qualify for EPT Berlin at some point this weekend. A reminder that Berlin is the next leg of the EPT, of season 9 of the European Poker Tour, and we will be there once again providing live coverage from every single day of the tournament. That live coverage kicking off on Sunday the 21st of April through to the final table on Saturday the 27th.
And we want Stephen to satellite in. We want everyone to satellite in.
For sure. Berlin's such an awesome city too. Like, it's a great one to satellite into.
Was that a check? Is that a check? No, I just want to make sure.
Checks are right on this flop.
I love that loads of people on Twitter are suggesting that Steve O'Dwyer's nickname should now be Steve Maguire.
Frank with the delayed continuation bet. He's going to get raised.
Oh, they're beating on this kid now.
Theo's having none of that.
And it kind of changes the dynamic a little bit to have the chip leader moved from this table. Now, of course, there's a new chip leader. Neil Farrell has the most chips, but Steve had about 1 million more than him.
So it's definitely a great great thing for Farrell here. I mean, O'Dwyer moved.
By the way, as far as the tournament chip leader is concerned, that honour seems to belong to Ruben Visser right now. More chips for Theo, up to 2.2 million. So just to remind you what Joe said a few moments ago, that when we lose another player, when we get down to 9, every player will be seated on the stage around the unofficial final table. And when we continue playing 9-handed until we have our final table bubble boy, our 9th place finisher, and then we'll be back tomorrow for the final 8 to play down to a champion.
Really, I had the nuts straight. Really.
Jorgensen seems to win most of the he's played since he doubled up.
Grania on Twitter says, I've never seen anyone look as miserable as Steve O'Dwyer. kind of want him to win so that he'll smile. Really, though, Mormon for the win.
I want to learn those feelings.
Do it for old Blighty.
I had a bad feeling about that.
James, what did you say after we checked back in with the old caption contest?
Absolutely. We can remind those of you who are unfamiliar with the caption competition how to enter. Because we're going to keep this open until the end of the day. And there are prizes, proper prizes, not just leftover food in the booth, but actual DVD box sets.
Targets a steal through.
And Farrell, Raisin takes that pot.
So let's have a look at the photograph in question. It was taken earlier on when David Williams from Team Pro was in the booth. Liam's caption is, "Getting toothy into boothy." Peter Squire says, 2 have clean teeth, 1 can't find his mouth, but his eyes sparkle.
Oh, that's so nice. I do have really nice eyes.
Fatty says, is that a dental pick in your mouth, or are you just pleased to see David Williams? This is one I like. This is from Rasmus. Nice to see that not all of the commentary is accidental. Dental.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right, yeah.
And Dan says it's a leaked picture from the set of the One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest remake. So if you can do better than that, if you want to put a funny caption to that photo, tag it EPT Live on Twitter. And if it entertains the panel, of which we are not part, then you could win 2 DVD box sets, a box set of Season 1 of the big game, plus a box set of poker tutorial shows.
Another guy that's flushing, alright?
Yeah, well, somebody flushed it, yeah. But I'm convinced I had a straight that time.
2 in a row, Raisin take it for Neil Farrell. Snuck one in while we were doing the caption contest. No one was paying attention.
Yeah, he's got a great chance to open up a lot more now with O'Dwyer moved away from the table.
More than one way to run good in a poker tournament.
Yeah, that's actually definitely something that gets overlooked, just table draw. And something like that, but like a play like that with that many chips getting moved. That was a good thing.
Somebody at that table got unlucky to have Steve O'Dwyer sit to his left.
Yeah.
Sit to their left, excuse me.
Hey, listen to fuck. Come on, Scott.
He's the guy from, he's the Scottish
Chubby.
partner.
Chubby, maybe.
Are you choppy?
I don't know, I mean,
It's not, he's just the only Scottish.
I'm gonna cry in my interview now, and I'm gonna say Theo Jorgensen made me cry. He's billing me
It was the
at
guy
the
from,
table.
what is
The topic of conversation at the table is Neil Farrell chubby?
the Scottish partner?
Yeah,
And he's a little fat.
just imagine Stapes and everyone apologizing for all the swearing. Sorry, guys.
I'm not apologizing. I have enough apologies to make on my own behalf.
Dale on Twitter says, is it just me, or does Christopher Frank look like Justin Bieber?
It's just you.
Yeah, I think that's ambitious.
It's one of those where like anyone under the age of 24 gets lumped in with Justin Bieber.
I'm a big Jorgensen fan. I like his style.
I do too. Very likable fella.
He's flattered Frank's button raise.
No, you're right,
Farrell comes along too.
3-way to the flop. 7, 8, 9 with 2 hearts. That one never gets old.
Guys, it's the Czech Republic now.
I was going to say, the irony is most of the people who are playing against the poker table have no recollection of there ever being a Czechoslovakia.
Lead from Farrell.
Thing Things have not really been going Frank's way this level, have they?
No. Seems we're getting played back a lot, and
that grimace on his face says it all. I mean, I appreciate, obviously, he's probably reacting to the massage he's getting, but...
I mean, this can be sometimes a good spot to donk lead, right? Like if you have a pair and like a lot of equity,
yeah,
you know,
for
pair
sure.
and a draw.
A hand like, even something like Jack 8, you don't really want to check call. It's just better to just lead. And like, you can also lead like 2 pairs in straights and stuff
Right.
as well to balance it.
Hands that you don't mind winning right away, but
yeah,
also if you get called, you can.
Yeah, and also you're probably not going to raise. Like, even if he's got aces, he's probably not going to raise that flop too much because it's so scary.
I love the way that Neil's brother Ian is weighing in on Twitter on the chubby debate. He says Neil was a chubby kid, a skinny teenager. Now he's super chubby. Hashtag too many Gregs.
That's about right. Yeah.
Oh, Greg's the bakers. Of your irresistible pasties.
Scotland's one of the few places I've been to where even the salads are fried.
You ever had a fried Mars bar?
I managed to avoid that one, but I did have a king rib.
How you let yourself get talked into that one, I will never know.
I'll tell you how I got talked into it. 7 vodkas.
That'll do it.
And 3 tequilas and 2 Jaegers.
You probably get talked into a lot of things then.
I'm not sure what else I got talked into that night. I know something definitely happened behind a dumpster.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Brian comes out raising again.
I kind of want him to win a hand because I'm starting to feel sorry for him.
I'm not. The worst thing that could possibly happen to this kid is him winning a tournament at 18 years old.
How old were you, Jake, when you won Deauville?
21.
Yeah, you're just about an age where you can deal with it.
I like to think so.
Didn't you still go and waste a ridiculous amount of money on a ridiculous sports car that you couldn't even pay for the insurance on?
Yes. Spent probably more on car insurance in my life than most other things. Well, money's not coming back anyway.
See, that's the kind of thing you do when you're young and you bink a poker tournament.
I mean, you have to celebrate somewhere.
Some way implies that you only did it one way.
Now, Neil Farrell made sure
a few ways.
Neil Farrell made sure he got verification of the size of both players' stacks before he elected to do this. This will be a cold 4-bet from the small blind.
Haven't seen too many cold 4-bets.
It's definitely looking strong, whether it is or not.
Run for the hills.
And this is a move, again, that he can just make a lot more confidently with Steve not at the table, not involved in these hands.
Yep. Just don't know how Frank's reacting, though. I mean, obviously, we talk about the fact there's been a torrid level, that his raises aren't getting through, he's getting called, and then pots being stolen on the flop. Is he now tightening his range, for example? Is this actually a legitimate raising hand?
It is. It can be quite an annoying spot for Frank when things aren't going your way that day. And
that is all in, Theo.
He's gone for it.
It seems that
if his light hair, I'll be impressed.
Farrell wants a count.
But it can be easy to get stuck in a rut, and if you're just losing every hand, it's not going your way. It can easily just give people credit and just be like, oh, if they've probably just got it again, I'm just going to fold.
Frank takes a break from the massage
But yeah,
while we sort this out.
Frank's not done that here, he's gone for it.
1,280,000.
Call.
Wow.
Christopher Frank at risk.
Is that ace king?
Ace king. I heard the word flip, so what is it? 10s? 9s.
So it is a flip, and Frank with the ace king, with the overcards, is the player at risk.
This is big.
So he did actually have a legitimate hand this time, one he was willing to go with. And he'll take this flip to try and remain in the tournament.
What do you think of the cold 4-bet with 9s?
I like it. I think he's in a tough spot when Frank moves all in.
Okay, good luck.
Probably does have to call as well.
Yeah,
Some nice sportsmanship here between these two. Love to see that.
But it did look like Theo was picking on Frank quite a bit, so that's why I like it with nines.
Can I get my 160 back?
Yeah, it's kind of sick they're flipping for.
He's going to get a fold enough of the
lot here.
time with the... There's a king in the door.
Great card for Frank.
Huge card for Frank.
Now it's to fade nines. 92% favourite to double up here.
No runners.
No, that's it.
That is it.
Another king of diamonds.
Not even a sweat.
Farrell calling for the misdeal. It's not a good situation when you call him for that.
The last point of desperation is just hope that there weren't
That was a
52
joke.
cards in the
That was a
deck.
joker or something.
So Frank doubles up to 2.8 million. He now has the chip lead at the table, and Farrell down to 1.38 million. Still 46 big blinds. Tamer, come on, we must reference the fact that he's dropped down to just a 13 big blind stack now with 15 minutes left on the level. Then the blinds jump to 2040.
Yeah, he's running out of time quickly. Do feel Farrell there, that would have been huge. They would have been probably amongst the chip leaders if he won that.
And we referenced a lot of time that there is a lot of Neil Farrell fans out there watching the live stream. Many people hoping they would win that all in, and Ben Hobson just tweeted 9 several times.
I read it as 999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999999. All I love how people insist on entering the caption contest with really rude and or disgusting captions that they know won't be read, let alone considered in contention.
Might amuse some people though.
I guess it is the internet. You're not really wasting anything except for your life.
You know things are bad when Joe Stapleton has taken the moral high ground over you.
Do as I say, not as I do.
Farrell back in the action with a button raise.
Well, gives it up.
And that raise does get through. Did Theo reveal what he 3-bet with there and then folded to the shove?
I didn't see if he did. I don't think so.
My guess is he still would have lost.
Yeah.
Unless it was pocket sixes.
No, I'm gonna sit out.
Yeah, the blinds and antes are so huge now. Relative to Kamel's stack anyway, it's going to be... Let's do something.
And he'll be aware that the clock's ticking, and in 30 minutes' time, he's going to have a sub-10 big blind stack.
Yeah, it's an uncomfortable situation.
Lorna has written in to say, Mantis, Mausus, Visotskis. Remember the name.
I will remember it for at least the next 36 hours. If he wins this tournament, I will remember his name. If he doesn't win it, chances are a week later it may have been gone.
Yeah, right, Hardigan.
Mel got shoved through from the small, keeps him ticking over a little bit.
Thank God Jake Cody's here to keep the commentary going. Jake, the winter hat. I've been meaning to ask you this. How do you deal with that? It is like, aren't you like just sweating yourself out wearing that big poofy hat? You don't get hot in it?
I wouldn't describe it as poofy.
Well, there's a poof ball on it.
It's got a poof on the end.
It's-
What would we call a bubble?
It's a bobble hat, yeah.
A bubble, sorry.
That's what we call it over here.
Is it a fashion choice, or is your head cold?
A little bit of both, to be honest. Like, it's in London, it's freezing. So.
Covering up a bald spot?
And it was quite cold out here.
Oh, by the way, I should pay attention to Harris on Twitter. He's getting rather annoyed. He wants to know about the lamp that you're selling. Stapes, is it still for sale?
There was no lamp. There never was a lamp. It was a bit.
What?
I hate to pull back the curtain, guys. I was never selling a lamp.
You lied to our audience.
Here's another thing that grinds my gears. Stop tweeting the same thing into us. We'll answer it if we feel like it. You're bothering me.
Ah, it's time for Angry Stapes to be wheeled out the barn.
It's getting warmed up right now.
So Farrell's pre-flop raise called by Theo in the big blind. Check on the flop.
Jorgensen leads the turn.
Giovanni tweets in the States, great to see Theo deep in this event, just like it was great to see Pierre get heads up in Copenhagen. Old dogs, new tricks.
The 80,000 called by Neil Farrell.
Looks like Farrell check back some kind of showdown value hand.
Theo immediately bets 200k.
Seems to pounce on the weakness, Jorgensen, when he gets the chance.
Kind of a lot of funky things that could be out there in this hand. There's two different straights.
Yep.
Flush.
Various two pairs.
Lots of two-pair hands, yep.
Even just an ace for Jorgensen's like pretty strong once Farrell's checked back the flop. Farrell taking his time. Affects his stack size quite a lot going into the next level. If he wins or loses, this is a pot with a call.
And what do you think he dwells this long on? A queen?
I'd say it's most likely a queen, yeah. Like, he probably just has to call it off with a bad ace if he's decided to check that back. Even though I'd expect him to bet it. Yeah, a queen, maybe even kings or jacks or tens.
Sorry.
The top of his tank range here is maybe an ace.
Small chance of an ace, but I would think it's way more likely weighted towards a queen.
Neil Farrell apologises to the table for the time it's taken him to think over this decision.
Theo just is completely stone cold.
He's got the calling chips in his hand.
Card in my hand, it means you can't have that many hands, which makes it harder.
I don't know, I kind of feel like Theo is huge here for some reason.
Giving too much away.
I don't know why I really like him for 6-7. I know it's really silly. It's just the way he just immediately bet the river.
By the way, I'm not sure whether it was Zotskis or Camel, but someone just got a warning from Kate the dealer for speculating about hands. And Kate reminding them that it's improper to talk about the hand while these two are heads up.
Farrell folds. I don't think Theo can show a bluff there. I don't think he would, but
We'll never know.
You just got a call.
Question from Robin on the emails. Why is the final table not classed as the final table until you lose a player in ninth? You know how much I love this question, Joe. Well, the great thing is we can get Jake's perspective on this because obviously he's a player. Now, the EPT during the late stages plays eight-handed, and when David Williams was with us, Jake, he's a big fan of the fact that it's an eight-handed tournament.
I'm a huge fan of it being eight-handed.
Now, obviously, the final table is meant to be eight-handed, but when we get down to 9, it's been discussed in the past, and the Players' Council have been consulted, and the general feeling is it's wrong to have a table of 4 and a table of 5. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, a table of 9's like not too much from a table 8, but yeah, a table of 4 and 5 is like quite a big difference.
So to not put the table of 4 at a distinct disadvantage, the idea is to merge the field at that stage, and then when a player busts in ninth, you have your official final table.
I think it's more fair to do that way, but I actually think it favours the pros for it to be 4 and 5-handed because they get short-handed with maybe some of the weaker players in the field.
It's more pressure you guys can put on.
But
Jake,
I do think it's more fair.
I want to show you this picture that Nick has sent in. It says watching the online coverage with his best mates.
That's awesome.
A couple of your magazine covers there.
And a little shark teddy bear.
And we have gotten word from the tournament director, if a player busts before the end of this level, there's going to be a 20-minute break. If not, we're going to break for 15 minutes. And that's going to happen in 5 minutes.
In fact,
a
revision to that, there will be a 20-minute break at the end of this level. Wow.
Youngson limped the small blind here, and Farrell raised pre-exit to 90k.
Check.
Check back. Yeah, I feel like this hits Youngson a lot.
Jorgensen bets. Farrell folds ace-queen face up.
By the way, just to go back to the whole...
He also thought that flop hits Jorgensen a lot,
yeah,
I guess.
Looks like it.
Just to go back to the whole final table thing. I don't know what they do at the World Series. Do they play 10-handed and then a player busts and they have the November 9, or are they playing 5 and 5?
I don't know.
I know that...
I feel like I should know.
I'm sure someone will check it for us and get back to us. I know for a fact that in 6-max tournaments it's very common for the table to go 7-handed and then a player to bust, because again, having a table of 3 and a table of 4 is grossly unfair to the table of 3.
Yeah.
Someone's tweeted in a picture, Average Joe's tweeted a picture of Ziegman meditating.
I can't even tell if that's photoshopped or not.
It's not a bad Photoshop. Raise and take it for Christopher Frank. 3.5 minutes left on this level.
Visokis has been particularly quiet. We've not seen much of him. Besides a free bet here and there.
Emilis asks, when tomorrow starts final table live stream with visible cards? Unfortunately, no visible cards tomorrow. However, the live stream will start the exact same time it started today, which is 1 o'clock Central European time. BB writes in to say they play 10-handed at the World Series of Poker main event. And so does Carl, and so does Ben.
And of course, as we know, the final table is not the official final table until they're down to 9.
Correct. So similar situation.
Yep.
Just we have one fewer player at the final.
Yep.
Lots of people writing to say that. Y'all can stop. We thank you. And we thank you.
That was a big race for Visokis again.
Tamer Kamel still hanging on. Fewer than 12 big blinds.
Yeah, the next level jump's gonna hurt him as well. Go from 12 to...
Is that a factor? Do you try to get it in while you still have 12 big blinds rather than...
I mean, you've got much more fold equity when you have 12. So, I mean, I guess it kind of, the cards play themselves a little bit in this situation. You can't just shove like 7-3 off just because you're getting short. So, you kind of just got to wait for a good situation.
See if he shoves small to big.
Yeah, this is a good situation. With a lot of hands anyway.
Gets the fold.
Nice answer.
Does he?
I think he shows a 4.
Oh, shows a 4.
Right, yeah, he has to shove there really wide, so.
Less than a minute left on the level, so one more hand.
You ever think of in that spot just looking at one and shoving no matter what it is, and that way it looks like you looked at an ace? And
I don't. Maybe that's actually good. Need to try that one.
right? Well, I think that's an acceptable angle.
Shout out to Nathan, who's a dealer here at the Vic, watching on his well-deserved day off. Says, great to see Tamer still representing the locals from the Vic. Go Tamer!
Long way to go for Tamer.
Using the button. Another good situation.
All in, he says.
Yeah.
And Frank, ooh, looked like Frank was going to.
Gets it through. That's decent chipping up just before the break.
Short stack ninja-ing. 2 hands in a row. Really big pots as far as he's concerned.
Yeah, yeah. Relative to his stack, it's huge.
Are we going to go on break or are we going to play one more hand?
We're not playing this hand.
Looks like a break.
It's a break. So 10 players remain. We're one elimination away from having our last table, but not our official final table. We're 2 players away from that. And our live coverage resumes shortly. We would like to thank Jake Cody from Team PokerStars Pro for making his EPT Live debut.
It's been fun. It's been fun.
I'm glad you've enjoyed it, Jake. We hope to have you back again.
Yeah, great.
And our live coverage continues shortly here at the London leg of the PokerStars.net European Poker Tour.